What's up guys, Luke from 8-Bit Plus back again with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the beloved Resident Evil series and why you should be playing them even if you're like me and don't particularly enjoy the survival horror genre. I've gone through an incredible journey from being a scaredy cat that would not consider playing any survival horror games to not being able to get enough of them. So sit back, relax, make sure you subscribe, and let's talk about why you should be like me and give Resident Evil games a shot. So before we begin, I do want to say that I've only just scratched the surface of Resident Evil games and don't know a ton about the old ones beyond what has been told to me by others. We're primarily talking about the remakes in this video, as in Resident Evil 2 Remake and the 3 Remake that just came out, and we're not going to be talking about the older ones. So if you're a big fan of Resident Evil, still stick around because I'm going to be talking to myself in a sense, a person that didn't really grow up with survival horror, and whenever we think Resident Evil, we just kind of write it off as it's not for us. So this is gonna help you get your friends to give it another try. My first encounter with the horror genre that I can remember was back in 2005 when Doom 3 came out on the original Xbox. I had grown up on games like Road Rash 2, Super Smash Bros, and SSX 3, all relatively lighthearted games. And if I played a game with killing in it, it would be something like Halo with friends or Mortal Kombat, which is granted a very gruesome game, but a little bit light on the horror scary aspect. And when it came to other forms of media like movies, I'd watch a scary movie, but I'd always want to wash it down with something like a comedy. But something about Doom 3 really got me excited. Yeah, let's get scared. So I did it. I got the cash together, rode my skateboard to the local game store. Hey, welcome to the used game store of the early 2000s. Picked up Doom 3. Sick. Then I went home, turned out all the lights, lit a couple candles, popped Doom 3 into my Xbox, and prepared to brown my pants. 5 minutes into the game, I had already done what I previously prepared for, and shortly after, I had changed my mind. I pulled Doom 3 out of the Xbox, replaced it with Burnout 3, and began the process of trying to forget what I had just done. On that day, I realized I couldn't handle games with survival horror in them. Fast forward 14 years and countless encounters with people telling me over and over about how much they love one of the most beloved game series of all time, and also the staple of survival horror genre, Resident Evil. And even going as far as saying things like a must play, a total masterpiece.
An absolute total masterpiece.
Total masterpiece, man. Boss.
And it's my favorite game of all time.
Of all time.
I had written it off as a series of games that they like, but something that I wouldn't be into. Until about October of last year, 2019. I had been live streaming on Facebook Gaming for about 3 months, and at that point I wanted to do something kind of special for my viewers. By the way, I do stream every Thursday, Friday, Saturday evenings, link in the description below. Since it was October and very close to Halloween, why not do a scary stream? So I did, and that went all right.
Mommy!
Fast forward 6 months and we are here in quarantine because of the C virus. See how I did that? I figured now was as good a time as any to give Resident Evil a try, and the rest is history. So I want to tell you a couple of points as to why I believe that you should be playing Resident Evil even if you're not a fan of the survival horror genre. The first thing I want to talk about with the Resident Evil games, in specific the remakes, is the graphics. The graphics on these games are absolutely insanely good. The RE3 engine is definitely a really well worth it for Capcom. They put a lot of time in making their own personal engine, and it really does show. The character models are like incredible. The way that they move is so natural and real, and it's just really well done as far as detail goes in the Resident Evil games. So this next point is really important to me because I don't think I would have enjoyed the Resident Evil games nearly as much if I hadn't played the remakes because of those tank controls on the old Resident Evil games. You know, to be honest, I really have no desire to play any of the old school Resident Evil games because I didn't grow up on it and I didn't experience it back then. But the gameplay in the new games is really amazing. It's super fun. It's a little slow paced, and there's actually been times during my live stream where I'm like, dude, why are they moving so slow? You're being chased down by a ginormous mutated person like the Terminator in Resident Evil form. They're gonna kill you, run! And they're just kind of doing this slow jog. But other than that, the gameplay is really cool because it really makes you feel like you're an actual person shooting a gun. The realism of the gameplay is really something that draws you in. Also, the inventory management is highly addicting. It's a absolute treat as far as strategizing and trying to figure out how you're gonna get from point A to point B. And then lastly, with the boss fights, I actually had a lot of fun, especially in 2. At the end of Claire's playthrough, you get this like really dope minigun with like a ton of bullets in it, and you're just freaking gunning down this like ginormous mutated boss figure. Really awesome, super fun, and just a great experience. There's just something about it, guys, that you gotta give it a try. It's definitely worth it. Very well done game. Horror games, especially Resident Evil and The Last of Us, have really shown us that horror can have an incredible story behind it too. These are actual people that are trying to survive a zombie, apocalypse, and they have real stories and they have real depth and they like have a real background. You start to fall in love with these different characters like Leon and Ada and Claire and Jill Valentine and Carlos. The thing about the story is it's really drawn me in to want to play some of the older ones too, because the other day we actually got Resident Evil 4 in the store, and I saw Ada in the back, and I'm like, whoa, Ada's in this one too? Dude, I want to see how they change as characters and develop. The story is the main reason why I think I'm gonna continue to dig into the older Resident Evil games as well as replay the new ones that are coming out. The last thing that I want to talk about is the replayability with it. You can play it on multiple difficulties. You can play as 2 separate storylines and 2 separate characters with their own unique ways of going through things. There's a ton of replayability with these games. It took me about 9 hours to finish Leon on 2. And then it took me about 5 hours to finish Claire, and that's just one side of the story. You're looking at about 30 hours of games that you can replay the story, and if you're more of a single player gamer like me, they really offer a great reason to go back and replay it, try to get a better time. They even go as far as like at the end of the game, it gives you your time for completion. And then you also have free where they've added a multiplayer that gives you a unlimited amount of replayability. From what I've experienced, it's pretty fun. It's a pretty enjoyable game that I could see myself going back and playing with friends. So tremendous amount of replayability with these Resident Evil games. Definitely worth the money. So those are my reasons why I believe that you should give the Resident Evil remakes a try. Even if you're like me and kind of a scaredy cat and don't really like survival horror games, I've been having a blast with these remakes, and the more I play them, the more I want to dive into the older games in the series as well. But that's enough from me. I want to hear from you guys. Are you a big Resident Evil fan, been playing the games for years? Or are you like me and just now considering trying these games out? Let me know in the comments section down below. And lastly, guys, if you got any value out of this video at all, do me a big favor and tap that like button, as well as subscribe with bell notifications turned to on, so that you can catch more content like this in the future. But until next time, guys, Luke from 8-Bit Plus signing out, and I'll see you in the next one. God bless.